What do you get when you take a talented surgeon and mix in some dark magic? Well, we only have a small taste so far, but we've already seen some pretty wild events in the new series Mayfair Witches, based on the novel by Anne Rice. In this video we are going to recap the events of the first episode of the show. There was a lot that happened, and our heads were spinning for most of the episode, trying to keep up. Fortunately, we are here to help break down the most important scenes in the episode so you know exactly what happened and are prepared for the rest of the season. Let's jump in, providing a full recap of the hour-long episode in under 10 minutes. The episode starts with a doctor walking up to a patient sitting on the porch. The patient is silent and still, and her eyes are distant and glazed over. The caretaker is confrontational about the woman's condition and just wants the doctor to give the woman her daily shot and leave. He approaches the patient and asks what happened to her, and we are led into a scene of a woman at a younger age on a boat, who later learn is Rowan Fielding. Rowan is approached by, who can guess is her mother, with a gift. The mother then says happy adoption day. We then quickly transition to the same woman as a doctor in a hospital caring for a young patient who needs an operation. When we see the operation, we see Rowan disagree with Dr. Keck's approach to the surgery. The surgery has a scare but ends up successful. Dr. Fielding runs into her mother in the hospital, who tells Rowan that her cancer has returned. Upon hearing this news and how severe it is, she goes to Dr. Keck's office about getting a recommendation for a program that would allow her to work on a trial for stem cell research with the hopes of having her other added to the trial. Unexpectedly, Keck scolds her, telling her that she is arrogant and has a sense of superiority. As he berates her, he suddenly has a stroke, as Rowan has a vision of his arteries. We are then taken to a young woman named Deirdre giving confession to a priest. The priest asks about a man. She says that the man cared about her as a child, but she doesn't need him as she's older. While talking, she carves the word lasher into the wood booth. We then see Deirdre walk out of the chapel and make eye contact with the man, but she is called to get in a car with her aunt. Her aunt is upset at her for talking to the man, and tells her to go to her room. In her room, we see Deirdre talking to the man, expressing her frustration about being treated as a child and stuck in the house. He suggests that she go to a party at her uncle Cortland's. Meanwhile, Rowan's mother begins chemotherapy. While at the treatment, Rowan tries to explain to her mother what happened to Dr. Keck, describing how she had a vision of the artery that eventually led to the stroke. Rowan recounts a similar memory from all the way back in 2nd grade, when she saw inside another student's head as the student had a seizure. Rowan says she wants to find her birth parents, but her adopted mother says that they have never been able to get a hold of them. However, once Rowan leaves the room, her mother calls a suspicious number. She tells the woman on the phone that her daughter may have hurt someone with her mind, and that she needs the agent assigned to her file. At this point, we don't know what this number is for or why Rowan has a file, leaving us on a bit of a cliffhanger. In a short scene, we see Rowan and her bartender Max sleep together, and as they are laying together, where we learn a little about Rowan and her emotionally distant demeanor. The next scene takes us to Deirdre at her uncle's elegant but eccentric party. Other partygoers are excited to see her, and she shares a toast with her uncle, who points out her necklace, saying it belonged to her mother. Deirdre says that her aunts never talk about her mother as they shelter her. Her uncle Cortland tells her a little about her mother, who apparently jumped from a balcony to her death. But the conversation is interrupted by a young man who seems to have been recruited by Cortland, who asks Deirdre to dance. During this, the images switch between eccentric imagery and creepy masks as Deirdre ends up sleeping with the man, who somehow also ends up in a mask. In the morning, she wakes up to an empty bed, looks out the window, and sees a body being carried away under a sheet, presumably the man. Immediately after, we turn to a man named Cyprian Grieve outside of a creepy house, having his own visions. He calls Rowan's mother in the middle of the night. She asks him if anything has been disturbed at a house in New Orleans. He says that the man is not there, but he is far away from Rowan. Rowan's mother, who doesn't have much time left, is worried about Rowan's safety. Grieve assures her that he will protect Rowan. The phone call scene transitions to a joyful presentation from Daniel Lemmel, who Rowan wants to work with for stem cell research, and for her mother. Lemmel tells Rowan that he'd be willing to help her. He takes her downstairs to show her where she will be working, and things get uncomfortable very quickly. He maintains a very overpowering demeanor, even using the restroom in front of her. He agrees to allow Rowan's mother into the trial, but he forces her to pick a name from the list of the 30 participants for her mother to replace. At this point, Rowan lets loose, venting her frustrations with his attitude. As she does, it happens again. Rowan has a vision, and he collapses on the ground. Rowan goes to tell her mother again, but her mother dismisses her concerns, saying that she shouldn't give in to the delusions. Clearly, time is passing quickly in the show because her mother is already bedridden. After, we are taken back to Deirdre. Father Duffy and her aunt knock on the door. When she opens the door, we see that she is pregnant from the encounter at the party. Deirdre is upset by her family, but Father Duffy is dismissive of her concerns. She angrily tells the priest to leave. She goes to jump off the balcony when she is magically pushed back and the man appears. She whispers the name Lasher and walks down the stairs to meet him. He tells Deirdre that her necklace binds them together and asks her to bind with him through her own free will. He says,
I am everyone. I am no one. I'm a saint. I'm a demon.
He asks, will you take me, Deirdre? Without a word, she puts the necklace back on and he says, you're my witch now. Immediately, her water breaks and she goes into labor. In the final moments of the episode, we see everything tied together. We see Rowan lay with her mother as she slowly passes into death. Alongside these moments, we see the aunt take the baby from Deirdre and give it to a familiar woman, where we learn the baby's name is Rowan. Her mother is told to never let the baby know who she is. Then, we are taken back to the woman from the porch. The doctor says he is not going to give her the drugs she normally receives because he wants to know who she is, calling her by her name, Deirdre Mayfair. The episode ends with a cut to Rowan's boat, where we see her being awakened by a storm and see the outline of who can only be Lasher through the window. We can only wonder what is in store for the rest of the season. Fortunately, we have 7 more episodes to look forward to so we can find some answers. Did you watch the premiere episode of Mayfair Witches? What stood out to you? Let us know in the comments. Share this video with your friends to help them get a quick recap before episode 2. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on all of your favorite shows and movies. Here at the Weekday Watch, we provide show recaps, movie breakdowns, and more. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.